Imagine losing everything that made you powerful, your empire, your control, your ability to walk, and discovering that the only person who stayed wasn't there for your money. Victoria Ashford built her fortune with steel in her spine and ice in her veins. At 34, she commanded boardrooms, crushed competitors, and never let anyone close enough to see her bleed. Love was a luxury she couldn't afford, a weakness that destroyed her mother and left her orphaned at 16 with nothing but rage and ambition. But fate has a cruel sense of irony. The accident came on a rainy October night. Black ice, a guardrail, and 3 seconds that changed everything. When Victoria woke up in that hospital bed, the doctors delivered their verdict with clinical precision. Complete spinal cord injury, T6 level. No feeling below her chest. No walking. No running from vulnerability anymore. 6 months later, she sits alone in Marcello's, an upscale Italian restaurant she once owned before liquidating assets to fund her rehabilitation. The afternoon light filters through tall windows, casting shadows across white tablecloths. She chose this corner table deliberately, back to the wall, clear view of the exit, wheelchair positioned to look less like a patient and more like a queen in temporary exile. Her hands rest on the table, perfectly manicured, perfectly still. Control is all she has left. Stay with me until the end, because this story will show you that sometimes we need to fall completely apart to discover what we're truly made of. And if you believe that real love finds us when we stop running, hit like and subscribe. This one will break your heart just to put it back together. She's early. The table is set for 2. Her physical therapist cancelled last minute, but Victoria came anyway. Eating alone in public is an act of defiance, a middle finger to pity and the whispers that follow her everywhere now. The restaurant hums with quiet conversation, the clink of silverware, the soft jazz that feels almost mocking in its lightness. She orders sparkling water, studies the menu she's memorized, and ignores the careful glances from other diners who recognize her face, but can't reconcile the woman in the wheelchair with the titan who once graced magazine covers. Then he walks in. Not walks, rushes. A man in his late 20s, wearing work boots that have seen better days, jeans with sawdust still clinging to the knees, and a flannel shirt rolled to his elbows. His hands are rough, calloused, stained with wood varnish. His hair is dark, slightly too long, falling into eyes that scan the restaurant with apologetic urgency. He's late, clearly, panicked, clearly, and he heads straight for her table. Victoria's spine stiffens, old instinct, even if her legs can't feel it anymore. She watches him approach with the cold assessment of someone who's learned to read threats in boardrooms and betrayal in contracts. He doesn't ask, doesn't hesitate. He just sits down across from her, breathless and relieved, pulling out the chair with a scrape that makes nearby diners glance over. "I'm so sorry," he says, chest heaving slightly. "Traffic was insane, and I couldn't find parking, and I thought for sure you'd have left already." He stops, really looks at her for the first time, and confusion flickers across his face. Genuine, unguarded confusion. Victoria stares back, her expression carved from marble. Her voice, when it comes, is silk over razors. "I don't know you." The words land like a slap. He blinks, glances at the table number, back at her. His face cycles through realization, horror, and mortification in rapid succession. "Oh God, oh no, this isn't..." He stands abruptly, nearly knocking over his water glass. "I'm at the wrong table. I'm so sorry. My friend told me table 12, and I just saw someone sitting alone and assumed..." "You assumed wrong." Her tone could freeze water. She's done this before, dismissed people with a single glance, made executives stumble over apologies, wielded coldness like a weapon. It's reflex now. Protection. But something strange happens. He doesn't shrink, doesn't make it worse with excessive apologies or that particular brand of pity she's learned to recognize in people's eyes when they notice the wheelchair. Instead, he pauses, really sees her, and something softens in his expression. Not pity, but recognition. Like he's seeing someone who understands what it means to be in the wrong place. "You're right," he says quietly. "I'm sorry for intruding." He turns to leave, scanning the restaurant for his actual table. But his friend isn't there yet. Table 12, the real one, sits empty across the room. Victoria should let him go, should return to her water, her menu, her carefully constructed solitude. But something splinters in her chest, something she hasn't felt in so long she almost doesn't recognize it. Curiosity. Or maybe loneliness, wearing curiosity's mask. "Your friend stood you up too." The words escape before she can stop them, surprising her with their softness, their humanity. He turns back, eyebrows raised. There's surprise in his face, but also something else. A smile that starts slow and genuine, reaching his eyes before his mouth. "Looks like it," he admits. Though knowing Marco, he's probably trying to find the place. He's got the worst sense of direction. Silence stretches between them. The restaurant continues around them, couples laughing, waiters gliding past, the world spinning on, while two strangers stand suspended in a moment that shouldn't matter. Victoria can feel her walls screaming at her to dismiss him, to retreat, to remember that people only want something from her, that trust is a currency she can't afford to spend. But there's sawdust on his jeans, varnish under his nails, and he's looking at her like she's a person, not a tragedy or a transaction. "You could wait here," she hears herself say, "until your friend arrives." It's not an invitation, it's barely a concession, but it's more than she's offered anyone in 6 months. His eyes search hers, careful, as if weighing whether she means it or if this is some kind of test. "Are you sure? I don't want to intrude." "You already did." Her lips twitch, not quite a smile, but close. "Might as well make it intentional." He laughs. It's a warm sound, unpolished and real, and it does something dangerous to the ice around her heart. He sits back down, slower this time, respecting the space between them. "I'm Daniel," he offers. "Daniel Reeves." She hesitates. Names have power. Once you give yours, you're no longer a stranger. You're a person who can be known, remembered, hurt. Victoria. She doesn't give her last name. Doesn't need to. In this moment, she's just Victoria, a woman in a restaurant sharing a table with a stranger who smells like cedar and honesty. "Nice to meet you, Victoria, even if I did crash your lunch." It wasn't much of a lunch, more of an exercise in existing. The honesty surprises them both. Daniel's expression shifts, not to pity, but to understanding, like he knows what it means to show up to places just to prove you still can. "I get that," he says simply. And somehow, impossibly, she believes him. The waiter approaches, confused by the new dynamic, but professional enough not to comment. Daniel orders coffee. Victoria, feeling something crack open inside her chest, orders the same. Neither of them knows it yet, but this accidental meeting, this wrong table, this moment of vulnerability disguised as coincidence, is about to rebuild everything both of them thought was broken beyond repair. What happens when a woman who lost everything meets a man who never needed much to begin with? The coffee arrives in white porcelain cups, steam rising like questions neither of them knows how to ask yet. Victoria watches Daniel's hands as he adds sugar. Rough hands, scarred knuckles, the kind of hands that build things instead of destroy them. It's been so long since she sat across from someone who didn't want something from her. No pitch, no agenda. No carefully rehearsed sympathy that always sounds like an invoice waiting to be paid. Just coffee. Just this. "So," Daniel says, wrapping his hands around the cup like he's trying to warm something deeper than his palms. "Do you come here often? Or was today just one of those face the world kind of days?" The question is gentle but direct. No dancing around the obvious. No pretending he doesn't see the wheelchair, the tension in her shoulders, the way she holds herself like armor. Victoria considers lying. She's good at it. Spent years crafting versions of herself for boardrooms and galas, wearing personalities like expensive suits. But something about the sawdust still clinging to his sleeve makes her tired of performing. "I used to own this place," she says, tracing the rim of her cup with one finger. "Sold it 6 months ago, along with everything else." Everything? The things that didn't matter anymore. Daniel nods slowly, not pushing, just listening. It's unsettling, this patience. In her world, silence meant weakness, meant someone was calculating their next move, but his silence feels different, like space instead of strategy. "What do you do?" she asks, redirecting. "Besides crash strangers' tables?" A smile tugs at his mouth. "I'm a carpenter, custom furniture mostly, restoration work when I can get it." He gestures vaguely at his clothes, self-deprecating. Hence the professional attire. Honest work. "Honest, broke work," he corrects. "But there's no bitterness in it. Just fact. But yeah, I like it. There's something about taking broken things and making them whole again, seeing what's still good underneath the damage." The words land between them like stones in still water, ripples spreading. Victoria's throat tightens. She looks away, focusing on the window, the street beyond. Anything but the way his words feel like they're reaching inside her chest and touching something she thought had died in that hospital bed. "That sounds..." She pauses, searching for the right word. "Hopeful. You say that like it's a bad thing. Hope is expensive." Daniel tilts his head, studying her with an intensity that should make her uncomfortable but doesn't. So is cynicism. At least hope doesn't leave you empty. Before she can respond, his phone buzzes. He glances at it, sighs. Marco's not coming. Apparently he mixed up the day. He looks up, apologetic. "I should probably go. Let you get back to your lunch." He should go. This should end here. A strange, forgettable encounter between two people who will never see each other again. But Victoria's hand moves before her mind catches up. "Stay." One word, barely audible. But it hangs in the air between them like a bridge she's terrified to cross. Daniel's eyes widen slightly. "You sure?" No, she's not sure. She hasn't been sure of anything since the accident ripped away every certainty she'd built her life on. But sitting here, across from this stranger with kind eyes and calloused hands, she feels something she hasn't felt in so long it almost hurts to name it. Present. "The food here is good," she says, as if that explains everything. "And you're already sitting down." His smile is slow, warm, devastating in its simplicity. "Okay then," they order. Victoria asks for the salmon she used to love. Daniel gets pasta he admits he can't really afford, but orders anyway because when else am I eating at a place with tablecloths? The conversation unfolds in fits and starts, careful at first, then gradually easier. He tells her about growing up in a small town 3 hours north, about learning carpentry from his grandfather, about moving to the city 2 years ago to chase bigger opportunities that turned out to be mostly bigger rent. She listens more than she talks, which is new for her. The old Victoria commanded rooms, dominated conversations, never let anyone else hold the floor long enough to see her vulnerabilities. But this Victoria, this smaller, quieter version sitting in a wheelchair she still hasn't fully accepted, finds strange comfort in his stories. They're so different from hers. No boarding schools or hostile takeovers or ruthless climbs up corporate ladders. Just a man who loves working with wood, who talks about grain patterns and joinery like other people talk about art, whose biggest ambition is to one day open his own shop. "What about you?" he asks eventually as their plates are cleared. "What did you do before?" Before. Such a small word for such a canyon. Victoria's fingers tighten around her water glass. She could tell him the truth. CEO, self-made millionaire, featured in Forbes's 30 Under 30, ruthless negotiator who built an empire on the ashes of her childhood poverty. She could watch his expression change, watch the easy comfort between them calcify into something awkward and transactional. Or she could give him this, one afternoon, where she's just Victoria. Not Victoria Ashford, not the Ice Queen, not the tragic figure in tabloid stories about fallen titans. Just a woman having lunch. "I worked in business," she says carefully. "Consulting, high stress, the kind of career that consumed everything." It's not a lie, just not the whole truth. "And now?" "Now I'm figuring out what comes after consumption." Daniel nods thoughtfully. "That's brave." She almost laughs. Brave, as if she had a choice. As if this reinvention wasn't forced on her by metal and gravity and the cruel mathematics of spinal injuries. "It doesn't feel brave," she admits. "It feels like drowning slowly." "Yeah," he says softly. "But you're still breathing. That counts for something." Their eyes meet, and something passes between them. Understanding, recognition, the silent acknowledgement of two people who know what it means to survive their own lives. The afternoon light has shifted, golden now, painting everything in warm tones that feel almost cruel in their beauty. The restaurant has emptied somewhat, the lunch rush over, leaving them in a pocket of quiet that feels both comfortable and terrifying. Daniel checks his phone, reluctant. "I should probably head out. Got a client meeting at 4. He hesitates, then pulls out his wallet. "Don't," Victoria says sharply. He looks up, surprised. "Lunch is on me." Her tone leaves no room for argument. "You kept me company, it's the least I can do." For a moment she thinks he'll fight her on it. Pride is something she recognizes in others because she's built monuments to it herself. But instead, he just smiles, gentle and knowing. "Thank you, Victoria." He stands, pushes his chair in carefully, and then he does something unexpected. He pulls a business card from his wallet, slightly bent, smudged with what might be wood stain, and places it on the table between them. "In case you ever need furniture," he says, "or just coffee with someone who doesn't know your whole story." The card reads, Daniel Reeves, custom carpentry with a phone number and an email address. Victoria stares at it like it's a live grenade. "I don't," she starts, then stops. "Doesn't what? Need furniture, need friends, need to pretend she's not drowning?" "No pressure," Daniel says quickly, "just, it was nice meeting you, even if I did it backwards." He leaves before she can respond, weaving through tables toward the exit. Victoria watches him go, watches his easy stride, the way he holds doors for people, the way he seems to move through the world without the weight she carries. The business card sits on the table, innocent and dangerous. She should throw it away. Should let this be what it was, and a brief, forgettable intersection of two lives that have nothing in common. But instead, she picks it up, traces the embossed letters with her thumb, and slips it into her purse. That night, alone in her penthouse that feels more like a mausoleum than a home, Victoria sits by the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Her wheelchair is parked beside the leather couch she can no longer sink into comfortably. The skyline glitters with 1,000 lives she's no longer part of. Her phone sits on her lap. The business card sits beside it. She tells herself she won't call. Can't call. What would she even say? Thank you for the conversation? Thank you for not looking at me like I'm broken? But her fingers move anyway, typing the number into her contacts. She doesn't call. Not yet. But she saves it under a name that surprises her with its softness. Daniel. The carpenter. And for the first time in 6 months, Victoria Ashford falls asleep without crying. What she doesn't know is that across the city, in a small apartment above a bodega, Daniel lies awake too, thinking about a woman with walls so high they cast shadows, and wondering if maybe, just maybe, he's supposed to help her find the door. 3 days pass before Victoria touches the phone. 3 days of physical therapy sessions where her body refuses to cooperate, where trainers with clipboard smiles push her through exercises that feel like punishment for crimes she didn't commit. 3 days of staring at financial reports for a company she no longer runs, of ignoring calls from her former board members who want to check in, which really means confirm she's still too broken to reclaim her throne. 3 days of waking up and forgetting, for just one merciful second, that her legs don't work anymore. And 3 days of thinking about a man with sawdust on his jeans who looked at her like she was whole. It's Thursday evening when she finally picks up the phone. The city spreads below her windows like a circuit board, all light and electricity, and lives she's disconnected from. Her penthouse is immaculate. Hired cleaners come twice a week to maintain the illusion of normalcy, but it feels hollow. Beautiful and hollow, like a museum exhibit of a life that used to be lived here. Her thumb hovers over his name in her contacts. This is stupid. She knows it's stupid. What is she even doing? Calling a carpenter she met once by accident? A man who probably felt sorry for her, who probably gave her his card out of pity disguised as politeness? But then she remembers the way he listened. Really listened, without that glazed-over expression people get when they're just waiting for their turn to talk, without the careful calculation she saw in everyone else's eyes. She presses call before she can talk herself out of it. It rings 3 times. She's about to hang up when, "Hello?" His voice is slightly out of breath, warm, curious. Victoria's throat closes. What is she supposed to say? "Hi, remember me, the bitter woman in the wheelchair who bought you lunch. I'm calling because I haven't had a real conversation in 6 months, and apparently I'm desperate enough to..." "Hello?" he repeats, gentler this time. "Anyone there?" It's Victoria. Her voice comes out smaller than she intends. "From the restaurant. You sat at my table by mistake." A pause. Then his tone shifts, brightens with genuine surprise. "Victoria, hey, I didn't think... I'm glad you called. You sound like you're running." A breathless laugh. "Just finishing up a project, lost track of time. Hold on." She hears movement, the scrape of something wooden, footsteps. Then a door closing, and the background noise fades. "Okay," he says. "I'm here. How are you?" Such a simple question. How are you? People ask it all the time. But no one actually wants the answer. They want fine or managing or anything that doesn't make them uncomfortable with the messy truth of someone else's pain. But Daniel asks it like he really wants to know. Victoria stares out at the city, searching for words that aren't lies. "I'm calling a stranger because apparently that's easier than calling the people who actually know me." Silence, but not the uncomfortable kind, the kind that holds space. "Those are often the best conversations," Daniel says finally. "No history, no expectations, just honesty." "Is that what this is?" "I don't know yet. What do you want it to be?" The question disarms her. In her old life, she always knew what she wanted: to win, to dominate, to prove everyone wrong about the orphaned girl from nowhere. But now, she doesn't even know what wanting feels like anymore. "I don't know," she admits. "I just know that sitting in this apartment alone was making me feel like I'm disappearing, like if I don't talk to someone real soon, I'll forget how." "You're not disappearing," Daniel says quietly. "You're right here. I can hear you." Something cracks in her chest. Small, painful, necessary. "Tell me about your project," she says, changing course before the emotion can drown her. "The one you were working on." He hesitates, as if sensing the deflection, but choosing to honor it. "Say it's a dining table," he says, and she can hear the smile in his voice. "Reclaimed oak from a barn that was torn down upstate. The client wants something that feels like history, you know, like the wood remembers things." "Does it? Remember?" "I think so. You can see it in the grain. Every ring is a year, every knot is a wound that healed. The wood doesn't forget what it survived." Victoria closes her eyes. Her hand finds the armrest of her wheelchair. Cold metal, clinical efficiency. Nothing like reclaimed oak that remembers. That sounds beautiful. It will be once it's finished. Right now it's just pieces waiting to become something whole. The metaphor isn't lost on her. She wonders if he knows what he's really saying, or if carpenters just naturally speak in poetry about broken things becoming whole. They talk for an hour, then 2. Victoria can't remember the last time she talked to someone for 2 hours about nothing and everything. He tells her about his grandfather, who taught him that good work takes time, that rushing ruins more than mistakes do. She tells him about growing up in foster care, about learning young that the world doesn't owe you anything, but you can take it anyway if you're ruthless enough. "Do you regret it?" he asks. "Being ruthless? I regret thinking it made me strong," she says. "Turns out there's a difference between being strong and being hard. I just didn't know it until I couldn't be hard anymore, until the accident took away my armor and left me with just this." "And what's this?" Victoria looks down at herself. Expensive loungewear, useless legs, hands that can still grip but can't reach most of her kitchen cabinets anymore. A body that feels like a betrayal. "Someone I don't recognize." "Maybe that's not a bad thing," Daniel offers carefully. "Maybe you're not supposed to be who you were. Maybe you're supposed to become someone new." "Easy for you to say, you're not..." She stops herself, but not fast enough. "I'm not what, broken?" The word sits between them like a third presence on the call. "I didn't mean..." "It's okay," he interrupts gently. "You can say it. Broken. It's just a word. And yeah, I'm not in a wheelchair. But I know what it feels like to lose the version of yourself you thought you'd be forever." Something in his tone makes her listen closer. "What happened?" A long exhale. "I was supposed to take over my grandfather's business. Big shop, established reputation, everything ready for me. But when he died, I found out he'd mortgaged everything to pay for my mom's cancer treatment. There was nothing left except debt and a legacy I couldn't afford to keep." "I'm sorry." "Me too. For a long time. But then I realized, maybe I'm not supposed to be him. Maybe I'm supposed to be me. Build my own thing, my own way. Smaller. Simpler. But mine." Victoria feels tears threatening and hates herself for it. She's cried more in 6 months than in the previous 34 years of her life combined. "I don't know how to be smaller," she whispers. "I only know how to be everything or nothing." "Then maybe you're not supposed to be smaller. Maybe you're supposed to be different, not less. Just different." They fall into silence again. but this time it feels less like a pause and more like a shared breath. "Thank you," Victoria says finally, "for answering, for not making this weird." "It is weird," Daniel laughs softly, "but the good kind of weird. The kind that feels like it's supposed to happen." After they hang up, Victoria sits in the darkness of her penthouse, phone still warm in her hand. She feels something unfurling in her chest, something she thought had died with her old life. Not hope, exactly. Hope still feels too expensive, too dangerous. But possibility. The faint, terrifying possibility that maybe she's not finished becoming. 2 weeks pass like water, finding new paths. They talk every few days, never planned, just calls that happen when one of them needs to hear another human voice that doesn't come with an agenda. He tells her about difficult clients and wood grain and his neighbor's cat that keeps sneaking into his workshop. She tells him about physical therapy victories that feel small but monumental, about learning to ask for help without feeling like she's surrendering. He never asks about her past, never Googles her name, and she's grateful for it. Grateful to exist in his world as just Victoria, the woman from the restaurant, not Victoria Ashford, the cautionary tale. But secrets have weight, and she can feel hers getting heavier. It's a rainy Saturday when her phone rings at midnight. Daniel's name lights up her screen. "Hey," he says, and she can hear something fragile in his voice. "I know it's late. I'm sorry. Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you ever feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be and completely lost at the same time?" Victoria looks around her empty penthouse, at the life she built and lost and can't seem to rebuild. "Every single day." "Yeah," he breathes. "Me too." "What happened?" "Nothing. Everything. I don't know. I just finished that dining table, the one I told you about, and it's perfect, the best work I've ever done. But when I delivered it, the client barely looked at it, just signed the check and went back to his phone. And I realized I spend all this time making beautiful things for people who don't even see them. Maybe you're making them for the wrong people. Maybe I'm making them for the wrong reasons. Maybe I should want more than just this." Victoria's heart trips. She knows this feeling, this restless hunger, this sense that you're supposed to be reaching for something bigger, but you don't know what or how, or if you even deserve to anymore. "What do you want?" she asks. "I don't know. To matter, maybe. To make something that changes someone's life, not just fills their dining room, to..." He stops, laughs self-consciously. "Sorry, it's late. I'm rambling." "No, keep going." "To not feel invisible," he says quietly. "To be seen, really seen. By someone who understands what it costs to build something from nothing." The words hit Victoria like lightning. "I see you," she says before she can stop herself. "Daniel, I see you." Silence. Then his voice, rough with emotion. "I see you too, Victoria." And just like that, everything changes. Neither of them knows it yet. But this moment, this midnight confession between two strangers who are becoming something more, is the beginning of the fall that will either destroy them both or save them completely. The next morning arrives with the kind of clarity that follows storms, sharp, unforgiving, illuminating everything Victoria has been avoiding. She wakes to 17 missed calls, 12 from her former assistant, 3 from her lawyer, 2 from numbers she doesn't recognize, but knows belong to journalists who've somehow caught wind of something. Her hands shake as she scrolls through the messages. They all say versions of the same thing. "We need to talk. Urgent. Call immediately." But it's the final text that makes her blood run cold. "Victoria, they're publishing the profile piece tomorrow. I'm so sorry. Rebecca, the profile piece. The one she'd agreed to 6 months ago, back when she still thought she could control the narrative of her own destruction. Back when she believed she could spin her accident into a story about resilience and comeback, use it to rebuild her image, her empire, her throne. She'd forgotten about it. Or maybe she'd just hoped it would disappear like everything else she couldn't face. Victoria navigates to her laptop, fingers clumsy on the keyboard. The article isn't live yet, but Rebecca has sent her an advance copy, professional courtesy or maybe just mercy, giving her time to prepare for the impact. The headline alone steals her breath. The Fall of Victoria Ashford, How a Self-Made CEO Lost Everything That Made Her Powerful. The piece is thorough, devastatingly so. It chronicles her rise from foster care to Forbes lists, her reputation for ruthless negotiations and cutthroat business strategies. It details the accident with clinical precision, the rain, the physics of the crash, the permanent injury that ended not just her mobility, but her reign. But it's the interviews that gut her, former employees talking about her impossible standards, her cruelty disguised as excellence, board members describing her paranoia, her inability to delegate, her conviction that showing weakness meant inviting attack. Even her ex-fiancé, a relationship that imploded 3 years ago, commenting on her emotional unavailability, her worship of control, her fundamental inability to let anyone close. The article paints a picture of a woman who built an empire on fear and lost it to fate. A cautionary tale about ambition without humanity, success without connection, power without purpose. It's not wrong. That's the part that makes Victoria's chest feel like it's caving in. It's not wrong. She was that person. Cold, calculating, so terrified of vulnerability that she weaponized strength until it became the only language she spoke. And now the whole world will see it. Will see her. Not as the tragic figure in the wheelchair, not as the phoenix rising from ashes, but as exactly what she was, a woman so afraid of being hurt that she hurt everyone first, including herself. Victoria closes the laptop with trembling hands. The penthouse feels smaller suddenly, like the walls are collapsing inward. She can already imagine it. The think pieces, the social media dissection, the public judgment of a life she can't defend because the accusations are true. Her phone buzzes. Daniel's name appears on screen. She stares at it, something breaking apart inside her ribcage. He doesn't know who she really is, what she's done, the person she was before the accident forced her into this smaller, softer version of herself. To him, she's just Victoria, the woman from the restaurant, the voice on late-night phone calls, someone trying to figure out who she is after loss. But tomorrow, he'll know everything. Tomorrow, everyone will. She should call him now, should tell him herself before he reads it in headlines, before he understands exactly who he's been talking to all these weeks. Should give him the chance to walk away cleanly, with his kindness intact, before her history contaminates it. But her finger hovers over his name and can't press down. Because these phone calls, these conversations, this strange connection with someone who sees her as human instead of monument or cautionary tale, is the only good thing she has left. The only space where she gets to be someone other than Victoria Ashford, fallen titan, and she's not ready to lose it yet. She's not ready to see his warmth turn to judgment, his curiosity to pity, his interest to the same clinical assessment she sees in everyone else's eyes, so she doesn't call. She sets the phone face down on the table and wheels herself to the window, pressing her forehead against the cold glass. The city glitters below, indifferent to her private apocalypse. Somewhere out there, Daniel is in his workshop, hands covered in sawdust, building something beautiful from broken pieces. Somewhere out there, people are living lives that don't revolve around catastrophe and consequence. And tomorrow, when the article goes live, she'll become public property again. Victoria Ashford, the ice queen who melted, the CEO who crashed, the cautionary tale for anyone who mistakes power for invincibility. The phone rings again. Daniel. She watches it vibrate against the table, his name flashing like an accusation. On the fifth ring, she picks up. "Hey." Her voice sounds hollow even to her own ears. "Victoria, you okay? You sound..." "I'm fine." The lie tastes like ash. "Just tired." A pause. He knows she's not fine. She can hear it in his silence, the way he's learned to read her moods through phone lines and careful word choices. Want to talk about it? God, yes, she wants to tell him everything. Wants to confess who she was, what's coming, how terrified she is of losing this fragile connection before it even has a chance to become something real. But the words stick in her throat like broken glass. "Not tonight," she manages. I need to hear about something normal. Tell me about your day, please." He does. His voice becomes a lifeline in the darkness, talking about a bookshelf commission, about the grain of cherry wood, about his neighbor's cat that keeps stealing his sandwiches. Normal things, human things, things that have nothing to do with falls or failures or public executions disguised as journalism. Victoria closes her eyes and lets his voice wash over her, memorizing it. Because tomorrow, everything changes. Tomorrow, he'll know. And this, whatever this fragile thing is between them, will shatter under the weight of her truth. "Victoria?" His voice pulls her back. "You still there?" "I'm here." "You sure you're okay?" No, she's not okay. She's drowning. But she's been drowning for 6 months, and the only time she feels like she can breathe is when she's talking to him. "I will be," she says, and hopes it's not another lie. After they hang up, Victoria sits in the darkness for hours. Sleep doesn't come. Just the slow, inevitable countdown to morning, to publication, to the moment when her carefully constructed distance between who she was and who she's trying to become collapses completely. She thinks about calling him back, about telling him the truth before he discovers it himself, about being brave enough to say, "This is who I was, this is what I did, and I understand if you can't see past it." But courage is expensive, and she's already spent everything she had just learning to survive. So she sits and waits and watches the city lights blur through tears she's too tired to fight anymore. Somewhere across town, Daniel lies awake too, phone in his hand, staring at Victoria's contact information. Something was wrong in her voice tonight, something she wasn't saying. And every instinct he has, the same instincts that tell him when wood is about to crack, when structures are unsound, is screaming that she's about to break. He wants to go to her, wants to show up at her door and demand she tell him what's really happening. But they've built this thing between them on patience and distance, and the careful respect of boundaries neither of them is ready to cross. So he doesn't go. He just lies there, holding his phone, hoping she'll call back, hoping she knows she doesn't have to carry everything alone. Dawn breaks over the city like Judgment Day. The article goes live at 6 a.m. By 7, Victoria's phone is flooded with notifications, messages, missed calls, social media tags she stopped reading years ago, but can still feel accumulating like debt. By 8, the story is trending. By 9, Daniel has seen it. Victoria knows the exact moment he discovers the truth, because the text that comes through isn't about wood grain or midnight philosophy. It's just 3 words. "Is this you?" And attached, a link to the article that reveals everything she didn't have the courage to say. The woman who rebuilt her empire on control is about to discover that some things like love, like trust, like the human heart, can't be controlled at all. Victoria stares at the text for 23 minutes before she can make her fingers move. 23 minutes of watching those 3 words burn into her retina like a brand. Is this you? Not an accusation, not anger. Just a question that somehow feels worse than both, because it's asking her to confirm that everything between them was built on a foundation she deliberately kept hidden. Her thumbs hover over the keyboard. A dozen responses form and dissolve. Yes. No. I can explain. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. Finally, she types the only truth that matters. Yes. The reply comes faster than she expected. Can I come over? Her heart lurches. No, she's not ready for this. Not ready to see disappointment replace warmth in his eyes, to watch him realize that the woman he's been talking to is the same ruthless CEO from the article, the one who destroyed careers and burned bridges and measured her worth in zeros on balance sheets. But she owes him this, owes him the honesty she should have given from the beginning. She sends her address. He arrives 40 minutes later. Victoria spends 39 of those minutes arranging herself by the window, positioning her wheelchair so it looks less clinical, less like a statement of everything she's lost. Then she realizes how absurd that is and wheels herself to the door anyway. When she opens it, Daniel stands in the hallway holding 2 coffee cups from a bodega downstairs. He's wearing the same flannel jacket from the restaurant, jeans that have seen better days. His eyes are tired but not cold. Careful, but not cruel. He doesn't say anything at first, just looks at her, really looks, the way he did that first day when he sat at the wrong table, like he's trying to see past the wheelchair, past the article, past everything to the person underneath. Coffee? He offers finally, holding out 1 cup. The normalcy of it undoes something in her chest. She takes it with shaking hands. They sit in her living room, him on the leather couch, her wheelchair positioned at an angle that lets her see both him and the city beyond. The silence stretches between them like a rope that could either pull them together or hang them both. Daniel speaks first. That article, that's really who you were. Yes. No point in softening it now. Everything they said, the ruthlessness, the control, the way I treated people like assets instead of humans, it was all true. He nods slowly, processing. His coffee sits untouched on the side table. Why didn't you tell me? The question isn't accusatory, just bewildered, like he genuinely can't understand why she'd hide something so fundamental. Victoria's laugh comes out bitter. Because for the first time in 6 months, someone was looking at me like I was a person instead of a tragedy or a tyrant, and I was selfish enough to want to keep feeling that way. So you lied. I omitted. Even now, the lawyer in her reaches for technicalities. I never claimed to be someone I wasn't. I just didn't correct your assumptions. That's the same thing, Victoria. The use of her name, flat, without warmth, cuts deeper than anger would. She sets her coffee down before her trembling hands spill it. Outside, the morning sun paints the city in shades of gold that feel obscene in their beauty. Everything looks the same as yesterday, but nothing is. You're right, she says quietly. You're completely right. I should have told you from the beginning. Should have said, hi, I'm Victoria Ashford, the CEO who built an empire by crushing anyone in my way, and I'm only calling you because the accident that paralyzed me also stripped away everyone I thought mattered. I'm using you as an escape from my own consequences. Is that what this was? His voice stays level, but something flickers in his expression. An escape? At first, maybe. She forces herself to meet his eyes. But then it became something else, something real. and that terrified me even more. Daniel stands, walks to the window. His silhouette against the skyline looks carved from the same rough-hewn wood he works with, solid, grounded, fundamentally different from the glass and steel of her world. "I read the whole article," he says to the window. "Every word. The way you fired that woman for being late to a meeting because her son was in the hospital. The lawsuit from the assistant you worked so hard, she had a breakdown. The projects you sabotaged because the competition showed you kindness, you interpreted as weakness." Each example lands like a physical blow. Victoria wants to defend herself, to explain context and pressure and the zero-sum game of building something from nothing. But the defenses taste hollow even in her own mind. "I'm not that person anymore," she tries. He turns and his expression is complicated. Not hatred, but not forgiveness either. Something searching and raw. "Aren't you? Or did you just lose the ability to act on those instincts?" The question hits like a slap because she's asked herself the same thing 1,000 times. Is she actually changing or just adapting to powerlessness? Would she still be ruthless Victoria if she could be? Or has the wheelchair forced an evolution her character never would have chosen on its own? "I don't know," she admits. "I wish I could tell you I've become this enlightened, compassionate person who's learned beautiful lessons from trauma. But the truth is messier. Some days I'm so angry at what I lost that I want to burn the whole world down. Other days I'm grateful the accident stopped me before I became something irredeemable. And which days are most common? The angry ones. The honesty costs her, but she gives it anyway. The angry ones where I hate everyone, including myself, especially myself." Daniel absorbs this, his jaw working. Then he does something unexpected. He sits back down, but closer this time. Not touching, but near enough that she can smell cedar and morning and the coffee going cold between them. "I need to understand something," he says carefully. "That night you called me at midnight when I said I felt invisible, and you said you saw me. Was that real? Or was I just convenient?" Victoria's throat tightens. This is it. The moment where she can either give him complete honesty or lose him forever to a comfortable lie. "It was the realest thing I've felt in years," she whispers. "Daniel, I've spent my entire life performing, being the orphan who made good, the CEO who never cracked, the success story that proved poverty doesn't define you. I've been so many versions of myself that I forgot what the original even looked like. But when I'm talking to you, I'm not performing. I'm just here. Even though you were hiding who you are, I wasn't hiding who I am. I was hiding who I was. There's a difference." He considers this, his carpenter's hands folded between his knees, hands that build and restore and see potential in broken things. "The woman in that article," he says slowly, "the one who valued power over people. Do you miss being her?" Victoria closes her eyes. The question everyone wants answered, but no one dares ask. Do you miss being powerful? Do you regret becoming small? "Every single day," she breathes, "and I hate myself for it, because that woman was destroying herself and everyone around her. But at least she could walk. At least she could control something. This version of me, vulnerable, dependent, learning to ask for help, feels like punishment disguised as growth. But you called me anyway, kept talking to me. Let me see the parts of you that aren't performing. Why?" "Because," her voice cracks, "because you're the only person who makes me feel like this broken version might be enough. Like maybe I don't have to earn basic human connection anymore. Like maybe I can just exist and be seen without having to be extraordinary." Tears slip down her cheeks before she can stop them. Hot, humiliating, honest. She wipes at them angrily, still fighting the vulnerability even as she's drowning in it. Daniel watches her cry with an expression she can't read. Not pity, not judgment. Something softer and more complicated. "I need time," he says finally, "to process this, to figure out if the person I've been talking to is who you're becoming, or just who you're pretending to be until you get your power back." The words feel like a door closing, not slammed, just carefully, deliberately shut. "I understand," Victoria manages. He stands and she knows he's leaving. Knows this might be the last time she sees him. The last time anyone looks at her without the article's shadow coloring their perception. But at the door he pauses. "For what it's worth," he says without turning around, "I don't think you're broken, Victoria. I think you're sharp in all the places you used to be numb. And that scares you more than any wheelchair ever could." Then he's gone, and Victoria is alone again in her glass tower, surrounded by everything she built and nothing that matters. She wheels herself back to the window and watches the city wake up to a story about her fall. Watches her phone light up with messages she won't read, calls she won't answer. And for the first time since the accident, she understands something fundamental. The crash didn't take away her power. It revealed that she never had any to begin with, because real power, the kind that matters, can't be controlled or commanded or crushed into submission. It has to be given freely, by people who choose to see you, even when seeing hurts. 3 days pass like purgatory. Victoria doesn't call Daniel, Daniel doesn't call her. And in the silence between them, both begin to understand that some distances can only be crossed if both people are willing to walk toward the middle, even when walking feels impossible. The weeks that follow feel like existing underwater, everything muffled, distant, slow. Victoria stops checking her phone, stops reading the articles that multiply like viruses, each one dissecting her past with surgical precision. The internet has decided who she is: villain, cautionary tale, proof that karma eventually catches everyone. Some comments call her inspirational for surviving. Others say the accident was poetic justice. Most don't see her as human at all, just a story to consume and discard. Physical therapy becomes her only structure. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. sharp. She pushes herself harder than her therapists recommend, chasing exhaustion like it's redemption. If she can make her body hurt enough, maybe the other pain will fade. Maybe she can outrun the memory of Daniel's expression when he realized who she really was. It doesn't work. 3 weeks after he walked out, Victoria receives a package. No return address, but she knows the handwriting on the label. Careful block letters, slightly smudged with what might be wood stain. Inside is a small wooden box, about the size of a jewelry case. The craftsmanship is extraordinary. Dovetail joints so precise they're almost invisible. Wood grain flowing like water frozen mid-current. Cherry wood, she thinks, remembering his voice on the phone talking about color and character. Her hands shake as she opens it. Inside, nestled in felt, is a note and a single item, a small wooden heart, carved from the same cherry wood, no bigger than her thumb. The heart is imperfect, one side slightly more worn than the other, tiny cracks visible in the grain, but it's been carefully restored, the cracks filled with gold in the Japanese kintsugi style, making the damage part of the beauty. The note is brief. "You said you don't know if you're changing or just adapting. I think you're missing the point. Wood doesn't choose to grow rings or develop knots. It just survives its environment and becomes something stronger because of the damage, not in spite of it. This heart cracked years ago. I almost threw it away. But then I realized the cracks are what make it worth keeping. I don't need time anymore. I need to know if you're willing to be seen, not as who you were or who you think you should be, but as who you actually are right now, cracks and all. If you are, I'll be at my workshop Saturday afternoon. working on something that needs patient hands and honest work. No pressure, no expectations, just an open door. Victoria reads it 7 times. Then she sets it down, picks up the wooden heart, and cries in a way she hasn't since the hospital, not from pain or anger or self-pity, but from something that feels dangerously close to hope. Saturday arrives grey and cold, the kind of November afternoon that makes the city feel smaller. Victoria spends 3 hours getting ready, changing clothes 4 times, attempting makeup she barely remembers how to apply, arranging her hair in ways that feel false and desperate. Finally, she stops, looks at herself in the mirror. This is who she is now. No power suits, no armor, just a woman in comfortable clothes and a wheelchair, holding a wooden heart and enough fear to fill the penthouse. The address leads to a converted warehouse in a neighborhood she used to drive through without seeing. The kind of place where artists rent studio space and dreamers build things that will never make them rich. Daniel's workshop is on the 2nd floor. She can see the sign from the street. Hand-painted wood with his name in simple letters. The building has an elevator, but it's old and temperamental. Victoria waits 5 minutes before it arrives, then another 3 while it creaks upward, with sounds that don't inspire confidence. By the time the doors open on the 2nd floor, her heart is hammering against her ribs. His workshop door is propped open. She can hear music playing inside, something acoustic and warm. The smell of sawdust and varnish drifts into the hallway. Victoria wheels herself to the doorway and stops. The space is exactly what she imagined, and nothing like it at the same time. Rough brick walls, industrial windows, letting in grey afternoon light. Workbenches covered in tools she doesn't know the names of. Half-finished projects in various states of completion, a chair, a cabinet, something that might become a desk. Wood shavings dust the concrete floor like snow, and in the center of it all, Daniel. He's bent over a workbench, focused on something she can't see. His hands moving with the kind of precision that comes from years of practice. He hasn't noticed her yet, too absorbed in his work. There's sawdust in his hair, concentration in the set of his shoulders. Victoria watches him for a long moment, memorizing this, the way he exists in his element, creating something from nothing, turning raw material into art through patience and skill. Then she clears her throat softly. He looks up. Their eyes meet across the workshop. For 3 seconds, neither of them moves. The music plays. The city hums beyond the windows, and 2 people stand at the edge of something that could either heal them both or break them completely. Daniel sets down his tools, wipes his hands on his jeans, crosses the workshop with steady steps until he's standing in front of her, close enough that she has to look up to meet his eyes. "You came," he says. "I almost didn't." Honesty feels like stripping skin. "I've been sitting in my car for 20 minutes trying to decide if I'm brave enough for this. And I'm here. That's going to have to be enough courage for now." Something softens in his expression. He crouches down, not to her level in a way that feels condescending, but to meet her eyes directly the way equals do. "I'm glad you're here." Victoria's hands twist in her lap, fighting the urge to retreat into the cold professionalism that used to protect her. "I don't know how to do this," she admits. "How to be seen, how to let someone close without controlling every variable. I've spent my whole life building walls, and the accident didn't tear them down. It just trapped me inside them." Daniel nods slowly, like he's been expecting this. "Can I show you something?" She nods. He stands, walks back to his workbench, and returns carrying what he'd been working on. It's a frame, simple, elegant, maybe 10 inches square. The wood is reclaimed, she can tell, with visible history in every grain line. But what catches her breath is what's inside the frame. It's the business card he gave her that first day. His card, slightly bent and stained, the one she kept in her purse for weeks before she finally called. He's mounted it behind glass, surrounded by thin strips of gold leaf that echo the kintsugi technique from the wooden heart. "I kept thinking about that day," he says quietly. "How I sat at the wrong table. How every logical reason said I should just apologize and leave. But something made me stay, something I didn't understand then, but I think I do now." What? We were both exactly where we needed to be. Wrong table, right moment. All the ways we found each other shouldn't have worked, but they did. Victoria stares at the framed card, at this small memento of their beginning, preserved like it matters, like it's worth remembering. "I don't deserve this," she whispers. "Don't deserve you seeing something good in me when the evidence says otherwise." Daniel sets the frame aside and takes her hand, carefully, giving her every opportunity to pull away. She doesn't. "I'm not trying to fix you, Victoria. I'm not here because I think you're a project I can restore. I'm here because when I talk to you, I feel less alone in my own mess. Because you're the first person in years who's made me want to build something that isn't furniture." "What do you want to build?" His thumb traces patterns on her palm, gentle, grounding, real. "Something honest, something that doesn't require either of us to be perfect or healed, or anything other than exactly who we are right now." Tears blur Victoria's vision. She's cried more in the past month than in decades, but these tears feel different, less like grief and more like surrender. The good kind, where you finally stop fighting and let yourself be held. "I'm terrified," she confesses. "Me too. I'll probably mess this up. Push you away when you get too close, try to control things I can't control. Probably." His smile is small but genuine. "And I'll probably be too patient when you need someone to push back. Too gentle when you need honesty. We'll both mess up. Then why try? Because messing up together is better than being perfect alone." The simplicity of it undoes her. She reaches for him and he meets her halfway, not with passion or dramatic declaration, but with his forehead resting gently against hers, his hands careful on her shoulders, his breath matching hers in the quiet workshop. They stay like that for a long time, long enough for the music to cycle through 3 songs, long enough for the afternoon light to shift, long enough for Victoria to understand that this is what she's been missing all along, not power or control or the ability to walk, but this simple human connection that asks nothing except presence. When they finally pull back, Daniel's eyes are wet too. "Will you stay?" he asks. "Just for today. Let me show you what I'm working on. Let me teach you something about wood and patience and things that grow stronger through damage." Victoria looks around the workshop, at the unfinished projects, the tools, the sawdust and sunlight. It's so far from her world of glass towers and quarterly reports, so far from everything she thought mattered, and that's exactly why she nods. "I'll stay." They spend the afternoon in comfortable silence. Daniel works while Victoria watches, occasionally explaining techniques or wood properties in his quiet, patient way. She doesn't try to help or control or improve. She just exists in his space, learning to be still, learning to be present without performing. As sunset paints the workshop in amber light, Victoria realizes something fundamental. She's not broken. She's breaking open, and maybe that's exactly what she needs. Sometimes the wrong table leads to the right person, and sometimes losing everything you thought you needed is the only way to find what you actually want. 6 months later, the workshop has changed. Small things mostly. A ramp Daniel built to replace the single step at the entrance, widened pathways between workbenches, a corner cleared for Victoria's wheelchair when she visits, which is often now, 3, sometimes 4 times a week. She's changed too, though the differences are harder to measure. Her penthouse sits mostly empty these days. a monument to a life she's learning to let go of piece by piece. She sold most of the furniture, too modern, too cold, too much like the person she used to be. The money went to the employees she'd wronged, to the assistant whose breakdown she'd caused, to the woman fired for choosing her sick son over a meeting. Restitution doesn't erase damage, but Victoria is learning that acknowledgement matters even when forgiveness isn't guaranteed. Some accepted the money with relief, others refused it. One woman sent it back with a note that simply said, "I don't want your guilt, I want you to be better." Victoria keeps that note in her wallet, reads it when the old instincts surface, the urge to control, to dominate, to prove she's still the sharpest knife in the drawer. Physical therapy continues. Her legs still don't work, probably never will. But she's stronger now in ways that have nothing to do with muscle mass. She can transfer herself from wheelchair to car seat. Can navigate her apartment without thinking about every movement. Can exist in her body without constant mourning for what it used to be. Progress, her therapist calls it. Victoria calls it survival, with slightly better coping mechanisms. But today isn't about therapy or restitution or the slow work of becoming someone new. Today is Saturday, and she's in Daniel's workshop, learning to sand. "Feel the grain," he says, his hand guiding hers across the wood surface. "You want to move with it, not against it. Let the wood tell you what it needs." Victoria concentrates on the motion, rhythmic, patient, meditative. The wood beneath her palm is warm, alive in a way that surprises her. She spent her whole life working with cold things, numbers, contracts, steel and glass. This feels different, organic, forgiving. Like this? Exactly like that. His smile reaches his eyes, the same warm expression that made her stay that first day, that keeps making her stay even when fear tells her to run. They work in comfortable silence. The workshop radio plays old folk songs. Afternoon sun streams through industrial windows. Sawdust floats in the light like small golden planets. This is Victoria's life now, smaller than before, quieter, but fuller in ways she's still learning to name. Her phone buzzes in her bag. She ignores it, another habit she's developing. The world will wait, it has to. But Daniel glances at her bag, then back at her face. "You should check that. Might be important." "Nothing's more important than this," she says, and means it. Still, she checks. Old habits die hard. It's an email from a non-profit she's been quietly consulting for, an organization that helps women in foster care develop business skills. They don't know she's Victoria Ashford, former CEO. They just know she's Victoria, someone with expertise willing to volunteer her time, someone who understands what it means to build something from nothing. The email is simple. "The girls loved your workshop on financial literacy. When can you come back?" Something warm unfolds in her chest. Not pride exactly. Pride was the old currency. This feels more like purpose, like mattering in a way that doesn't require domination or fear. "Good news?" Daniel asks, reading her expression. "Maybe." "I don't know yet." She sets the phone aside, returns to sanding. "I'm teaching foster kids about business, trying to give them tools I wish I'd had at their age, tools that don't involve becoming what I became." That sounds like good news to me. "It's terrifying," she admits. "What if I'm just teaching them to be ruthless? What if I can't separate the useful skills from the destructive ones?" Daniel sets down his own work, comes to stand beside her. His hand finds her shoulder, grounding, steady. "You know the difference now, that's what matters. You're not who you were, Victoria, and you're not trying to be perfect. You're just trying to be better. That's enough." She wants to believe him. Some days she almost does. They return to work. Minutes pass, then an hour. The wood beneath Victoria's hands transforms gradually from rough to smooth, from broken to whole. It's satisfying in a way profit margins never were, this tangible evidence of patient work, of transformation through steady attention. "Daniel? Yeah? Thank you." She doesn't look at him, keeps her focus on the wood. Some truths are easier to speak when you're not making eye contact. For not giving up on me, for seeing something worth staying for when most people would have run. He's quiet for a moment. Then his hand covers hers, stilling her sanding motion. "You keep thanking me like I'm doing charity work. But Victoria, you make me want to be braver. You show up scared and do the work anyway. You face people you hurt and try to make it right, even when they won't forgive you. That's not weakness. That's the strongest thing I've ever seen." Her vision blurs. Even now, after months of learning to be vulnerable, tears still feel like surrender. "I'm still figuring out who I am," she whispers, "without the company, without the power, without the version of myself I spent decades building." "Good." His thumb traces circles on her wrist. "Maybe you're not supposed to figure it out. Maybe you're just supposed to live it." They stay like that, hands touching across the workbench, afternoon light painting everything gold, the smell of wood and possibility surrounding them. This is the moment Victoria finally understands. She didn't lose everything in the accident. She lost the wrong things. The things that kept her from finding this: connection without transaction, presence without performance, love that asks nothing except honesty. "Stay for dinner," Daniel says. "I'll order from that Thai place you like. We can eat here, watch the sunset from the windows." Victoria looks around the workshop, at the half-finished projects, the tools hanging on walls, the space they've carved out together. It's not grand, won't make magazine covers or impress board members, but it's real and warm, and hers in ways the penthouse never was. "I'll stay," she says. And she means more than just dinner, more than just tonight. She means all of it. The messy work of becoming, the slow rebuilding, the days when old wounds ache and new fears surface. The moments of doubt and the moments of grace. The learning to receive without controlling, to connect without consuming, to love without needing to own. As the sun sets over the city, Victoria and Daniel sit together in the workshop that's become their sanctuary. The Thai food grows cold while they talk about small things. His next project, her consulting work, the neighbor's cat that still steals sandwiches. Small things that mean everything. And when he reaches for her hand across the scattered takeout containers, when she laces her fingers through his without hesitation, Victoria realizes something profound. She spent her whole life building an empire, trying to prove she mattered. But she only started mattering when she stopped trying to prove anything at all. Outside, the city lights begin their evening dance. Somewhere in the distance, sirens wail and horns honk, and life continues in all its chaotic beauty. The world doesn't know or care that Victoria Ashford, former CEO, cautionary tale, woman learning to be human, has found something more valuable than any fortune. She's found herself, the real version, imperfect and present and enough. And she's found someone willing to see that version not as a consolation prize, but as the main event. "Victoria?" Daniel's voice pulls her back. "Yeah? I love you. Not who you were. Not who you're trying to become. Just you. Right now. Exactly as you are." The words should terrify her. Love was always leverage in her old life, always a weakness to exploit or a tool to wield. But coming from him, in this moment, they feel like the opposite of fear. They feel like freedom. "I love you too," she says, and the truth of it resonates through her bones. "Thank you for teaching me what that actually means." He smiles, pulls her closer, and they sit together as darkness settles over the city. Two people who found each other at the wrong table and built something right from the ruins of their separate breaking. Some riches can't be bought or built or commanded into existence. They can only be received with open hands and open hearts, and sometimes losing everything is the only way to discover what you were meant to find all along. If this story touched your heart, like, comment and subscribe for more stories of love and redemption, because some of the best things in life come from the moments when we stop trying to control everything and finally let ourselves be seen. Would you have the courage to let someone see you, cracks, scars and all?